Hey, what's up, parental queens? Welcome to Baget, the home of family creativity. My name is Cedrica Baggett, and I help moms build unbreakable bonds with their teens through cooking. Now, let me tell y'all, I'm be real transparent with you real quick. A sister is tired. so, uh, y'all know I'm in the military, and so I'm a mom, business, all that. And so I was diagnosed with insomnia a few years ago, like back in 2017. And so I go on these like long stretches of no sleep sometimes, and it affects me like off and on, off and on. And so I'm on that verge right now. But either way, I stay positive. I keep it motivated, and I like to be positive with you guys and keep you guys motivated as well. But I just want to say that because, nobody's perfect. We all go through our stuff. And being in the military is a whole nother stress level for a lot of people, a lot of us. And so it's affected my sleep, I guess you could say. And being on deployments, being away from home multiple times in my career, it's affected me that way. And so sleep, sometimes I go about 3 days at the most I've been with no sleep. So don't worry, I'm gonna get myself healthy and work on that. I'm gonna get better. And so I just wanted to be real transparent with you guys on that to let you know, everybody got their stuff going on, but I am always here for you guys, and I want to bring you value. And so let's keep it moving. All right. So first, I want to go into today's motivational moment. Y'all know that's my favorite part. Let's get it popping. All right. Today's motivational quote is: sometimes the bravest and most important thing you can do is just show up. All right. What that means to me, let me elaborate. That means to me, for whatever you want to do, your dreams, your goals, your ambitions, show up, get it started. Don't let it sit. Don't live your life in what ifs. I say that all the time. Okay. Whatever you want to do, whatever goals you have, whether it's starting school, whether it's starting a new career, whether it's starting a business, show up and just start. That's all you got to do. Don't stand still and sit on your dreams, guys. Don't just dream it. Make it a reality. Make it visible. Make it tangible. All right. So once again, let me remind you that sometimes the bravest and most important thing you can do is just show up. All right. So now let me move on into today's fun food fact, which is mangoes. Mangoes is my number one favorite fruit. Okay. And it's always something new you can learn about what you eat. So mangoes has a vitamin content which varies depending on the variety and maturity of the fruit. While still green mangoes have higher vitamin C content, but as the fruit ripens and matures, the amount of vitamin A it contains increases. So that's very good to know. I eat them every time I buy mangoes. They be gone in like 2 days in my house. I could buy like 10 of them. They be gone. All right. And you could do a lot of things with mangoes. You could do mango salsa, which I love as well. Or you could just cut up the mango and put like some seasoning on it. I know one season I like to use is called tahini. Don't use too much because it's salty. But mangoes is good for you. It has a good quality of vitamin A. And so make sure y'all eat some mangoes. And it's a lot of different kinds. It's a lot. Like, I want to say it's over 50 types of mangoes in the world. One of my favorite type of mangoes are Filipino mangoes. And the first time I tried those were when I was in the Philippines. And they're smaller than your regular type of mango like this one. And they're yellow. And those are the best mangoes so far that I have ever had. So, and you can find them in your local market as well. So, girl, just get your mango. Okay. All right. So now let's move forward to my most favorite part of the show. Y'all know every part of the show is my favorite part of the show. Okay. So I'm going to tell you about tonight's guest. Her name is Shannon Lee. She is a podcaster, author, holistic mind, body health coach, and digital CEO. So please help me welcome Shannon Lee. Hi.
Hi, Cedrica. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Really good. Thank you. We're on opposite sides of the country here.
Oh, yeah. Where are you?
Florida.
Okay.
Can you hear me okay?
Please go ahead. Yeah, I can hear you. So please go ahead and just reintroduce yourself and tell us about you.
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Shannon Lee, and you gave a wonderful introduction. So I'll stand on that, but tell you a little bit about my story and my past. I was in the military, Navy Gulf War veteran, and I had self-healed from post-traumatic stress disorder, military related, and Gulf War illness, which many people don't really know what that is unless they were in the Gulf War, or afterwards. People still have similar symptoms, but may not be called Gulf War illness, but it is a metabolic and autoimmune condition that stems from some of the vaccines that were required to get in the military when we go on deployment. And so depending on where you're going, depends on what's in those vaccines and what they put your body up against to build an immunity to, supposedly. But at the same time, when you get a lot at one time, some of those things build up because other things in those vaccines, other heavy metals that kind of interact and go to certain parts of your body, and you have to get that stuff out. Eventually immunity. We have the immunity, but then you still have things like mercury and aluminum that also are in those vaccines that you need to get out of your body. But
right.
So that's part of my past was, having self-healed from that through Ayurvedic, principles, and a detox diet, and that was over 20 years ago. So, and I've never had any reoccurrence of any kind of symptoms whatsoever.
So when you say Ayurvedic, what exactly is that?
So Ayurveda is it's Indian medicine, Indian medicine. It's actually like 3,000 years old, one of the oldest known, like Deepak Chopra, one of the oldest known medicinal core practices out in the world outside of, Western medicine, which is allopathic medicine. So it's alternative. And they're basically herbal formulations. And there's when you put certain herbs together, they support different organs of the body to help them function better, and or certain products and herbs that will help your body detox. Excuse me. Certain chemical biological agents out of the cells and move it safely through to your body for elimination.
Okay, so how does that help you?
How does it help you? Say that one more time.
Physically and mentally, how did it help you?
Oh my gosh. Well, I had gone to, the VA and the regular doctors who explained to me that what I was experiencing, although all my blood work came back wonderful, all my tests, my liver enzymes, thyroid, everything came back perfectly according to their standards. And so, so what they said was that it was an emotional condition. And I didn't really understand that 20 years ago. And so I was definitely more emotional after they told me that, because they basically gave me psych meds and would, send me on my way. And I didn't feel like that was the right, way to go. So, when you decide that you're going to figure it out for yourself, the universe kind of comes to your aid and shows you what you need to know. And so I was brought on this to Houston, Texas, and, went to work for this company, got an informal Ayurvedic education, and started taking medics. And so within actually it was so much less, it took probably about 5 years for me to start recognizing the symptoms from Gulf War illness, although back then it didn't have a name. You didn't know what it was, you just knew how you felt. So it was lethargic, very exhausted all the time. You could sleep 14 hours and still feel exhausted. It was a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety attacks, insomnia, was definitely included in that. Restless leg syndrome, neurological tics, and it was actually almost like when you went to lay down to go to sleep at night, you almost turned on, like your body, your nervous system was like all of a sudden, and it was strange, but also frustrating because you want to be going to sleep. So, so it took about 5 years for me to really realized something was wrong. Chronic fatigue is what they call it now in fibromyalgia. So those were some of the symptoms before they actually had any terminology for them. And it only took, once I started using the Ayurvedic protocols and principles, it only took about somewhere between 60 to 90 days to really turn around in every way. So it was physically, the energy was back and better than it had been in many years. And I was, this was 20 years ago. I was young at the time. So when I was 28 and I was feeling like an old lady, I was like, this can't be right. I don't know what what the next 20 years is going to look like if I feel this bad at this age. That's not good. So it was really concerning to me. But yeah, it was a really short amount of time, and my energy came back, and mentally it was, I was calm, and the peace kind of restored, within my mind and in my body. So, and I was able to, sleep normal and go and do what I wanted to do, and hike and live my life again, and without pain, and, without exhaustion and without stress. So it was obviously life-changing, transformational for me. And I know there's there's a lot of people out there that have similar conditions, if not Gulf War illness themselves. There's hundreds of thousands of vets that still suffer from Gulf War illness that just don't know what they don't know, that in reverse, it can be dealt with, in a natural way. So
yeah, that's good to know. So you like to help, because I know your website is called Tough Mothers. Don't I forget the rest of it, but you know what I'm talking about. But I'm gonna bring it up later. So what motivates you to help like moms in general?
I think, because I've walked in their shoes. I'm a single mom, and I've walked a mile in their shoes and understand the stress of, the children, and, dealing with them, and dealing with things that you deal with on a daily basis. And, we all tend to carry a lot on our shoulders, and that creates a lot of stress. And so I just want to share, what I've learned, what helped me. It's not a cookie cutter. There's no cookie cutter approach, but there's, different methodologies that you can try to see, because we all have different backgrounds. We all have different things but more importantly, we have different environments. So, my environment here in Florida is much different than someone, and for you too, because you're in Southern Cal, right? So I'm originally from upstate New York, and I had, seasonal affective disorder for most of my life until I left New York State. And once I got out of New York and went to Florida, and then went to California, went to San Diego for boot camp, that was gone. So a lot of that is vitamin D. And a lot of people don't realize, it's vitamin D, it's omega 6s and omega 9s, and the ratios therein. And people they're not getting the nutrition that they need. And I don't care what kind of diet it is. There's no diet that's going to give you all the essential vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that you need to perform optimally. I think you have to supplement in some way, shape, or form in every diet that there is. You just have to know what it is. What is it that you're wanting to accomplish? Is it, as a mom, you need to be able to run the marathon through the day with the kids. For you got a 5-month-old, right?
And
and that's and 2 other. How old are your other ones?
15. and
Little?
7, the oldest.
Okay. So yeah, you've got a good range, right? And
Right.
so, um, yeah, so you have a lot of different pressures on you, from them, obviously. And the nice thing about, the program that I show people in the cooking methodologies is that it is the best diet for mental health, actually.
Okay.
And that's been proven over and over again. And so not just with women, men, children, it's the best diet for mental health. And so, and it, children with ADHD and ADD, and obviously we know that's a big issue in this society and in this country right now, and has been for a number of years. And, they've learned to manage it, and this is another tool to help manage it. And I think eventually, if you have the right building blocks, that you not just manage it, but you can reverse a lot of it. I believe pretty much almost anything, a lot of things can be reversed.
Yes, definitely. So now on your Tough Mother Now site, what do you have to offer on your website?
So yeah, I'm getting ready to do a health revolution at the end of February, and so basically a 21-day challenge, so to speak, to put people. It's not really a weight loss per se, although weight loss happens pretty rapidly for many people. It's more, but I really want to focus on the health part of it, because I want people to really jump off that diet roller coaster, just stop. Seriously, just stop. There's no magic pills. There's no, it takes commitment. There's all these other things that go into to actually losing the weight, and the weight is just it's the obvious thing, right? It's how we feel. And I struggled with weight and on that diet roller coaster for many years. One of the big things for people in when it comes to success or failure, one is their mindset. The other is an emotional aspect. And some people very much know that they can be emotional eaters, but they don't know how to not be an emotional eater, right? And so what I really get people to focus on is, I can give you the process. The food part is actually really easy, as long as there's some very basic information and you keep to that basic information. Your body's going to heal. It's going to morph. It's going to change. You're probably going to lose weight. It's not linear though. It's more cyclical, because you're healing on a very deep level. And so, depending on you and what it is, what your goals are, if it's just weight loss, we can, we customize, okay, well, this is really, if you want to lose weight, this is what you need to do. And that's what you got to get committed to. What is it that's keeping you back? What's holding you back? Is it the mindset? Is it the emotional stuff? Is there some trauma in there that's keeping you from actually succeeding in losing weight and keeping it off?
Right.
And I think that, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think that's one of the things that I feel like is very different about approach, and our approach is that we're getting to the core of the sabotage, the self-sabotage, and people will get so far, and then they fall off the wagon. And there's a preparedness. If you have a busy lifestyle, you have 3 kids like you have, so there's a preparedness that that during that 21 days, you're going to come against some cravings. Why? Because there's things going on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're going to have this. So when you go into it, what are you going to do? What's your plan when it comes along and it's staring you in the face and you walk into that convenience store, and whatever it is that triggers you is there. For me, it's like an eclair boy, or in the what we just came through Christmas time, like is ginger cookies, and all the really wonderful, like just umami kind of savory foods, that kind of thing. And for other people it's bread, or whatever it is, and some of those are nostalgic, and you can see that's like emotional kind of tie there, right? Because it's nostalgic. But others, it's the bugs. It's the yeast, and it's the yeast and fungus and bacteria in your body that want to they want to feed themselves, right? And it's something that people don't really talk about, but we all know it's true. You got to have good probiotics in your intestinal system, right? In your biome, but they're all over your body. And actually, when you're obese or overweight, the fat actually becomes an organ, and it has its own own blood vessels, and those bacteria actually create hormones and chemicals that make signals in your own body, so that it forces you to think that you're craving something, but it's actually not you that's craving it. It's them that's craving it, and they're wanting you to feed them. So no one would ever think that, right? I go, it's the
bugs. So I want to say to the audience that if you guys are getting any value out of this, which I know you are, make sure you share and like this video, because there's always somebody else out there who needs to hear this information. And so, Shannon, I also want to ask you about your Carnivores Mothers, the Facebook group you have. What exactly is Carnivores?
Yeah. Yes, Carnivores. Well, so we have a lot of different diets out there. As we have a big diet the past, I don't know, 5-10 years, whatever it's been, has been the keto diet. And we've seen paleo diets, and we've seen back in the 80s was no fat diets. And that's one of the things that I cover in my webinar too, is that, if you've been trying to lose weight it's not entirely your fault. There's some things that have been misrepresented and to you. So it behooves you to learn the truth. Carnivore is a fairly, I'm not to say new, but it's a little bit, goes just past keto. And keto is low carb, but their low carb is around 100 or less carbs a day. And they don't really differentiate on the carbohydrate as to whether it's simple or complex or that kind of thing. Some do. So it depends on who you're following. But there's also like extreme keto, and there's dirty keto, and all these different, but then there's carnivore, and there's very strict carnivoring. Strict carnivore is literally like meat, red meat, salt, and water. And so it's a very much an elimination diet, is very much for people that need to heal on a deep, deep level. And a lot of people think that is like, they get concerned about people that do just strict carnivore, but it's been done for many years as well, actually. I think the oldest person that's been doing carnivore is somewhere around like 10 to 15 years or something like that. And and they've had babies, full carnivore babies, and that kind of thing, and they've done very well on it. I think they've been doing the studies on it for about 30 years, so or 30 years or more. So carnivore-ish is kind of like a step between keto. There's also ketovore, which is a combination of keto diet and carnivore diet. For me and my program, Carnivore-ish is focused on anti-inflammatory and keeping the insulin very balanced. We do use a few different complex carbs and fats for functional performance reasons, because there are a lot of people in this society that have thyroid issues, And to go straight carnivore, they can have issues with going straight carnivore and not feeling well on that diet. And then, the other issue is the mold. We were talking about the bugs, the mildew and the mold. And, there's a lot of different areas. If you've been exposed to black mold or mildew or anything like that, you got to get rid of that issue first before you're going to be able to lose a certain amount of weight and be successful. So you got to get rid of the mold first. And so we look, and I say a holistic approach, because we're not just taking a dietary process. We're not counting points and counting carbs and counting macros and all these things. Yeah, we take this into consideration, but ultimately, it's got to be something that's sustainable. So you want sustainable food, sustainable energy, and sustainable weight loss, and you want to be strong and you want to have energy. And those are all the things that I want as a mom, right? Don't you want to be able to enjoy your children, have the energy to enjoy them, because you're working so hard for them, right? And you didn't just, you had them so you could enjoy them. And the food preparation is very simple, and it's fast, it's easy, it's delicious, it's satiating, and it just really takes, and it, as I said, it's a mental health diet, so it really takes your stress levels down considerably.
That's awesome. So I know you're starting your free 7-day bulletproof mind body map. So what does that entail?
Yeah, so anybody can just do they can go to the website and they can download the assessment. So the assessment is the first step, and that's basically just you got to know where your start point is, right? You really got to know who you are, dig into your stuff, and figure out before you even start on the journey what you're going to come up against. What are your sabotage, what's your self-sabotage, and what do you need to do in order to be successful and get this down? Because if you can do anything for 21 days, it becomes ingrained. We start building those pathways, those neurological pathways, and your body will respond, obviously, in many positive ways. So it, after you go through the initial weight dumping and, those things that you kind of go through on a detox, and, we have things that we can use to alleviate some of those symptoms, the Herxheimer symptoms, which is, what they refer to as, people go, oh, I got a keto flu or whatever. These are all Herxheimer symptoms, and they're due to die off from those bacteria. When you're killing off the bacteria, they release their own toxins into the bloodstream, which make you feel tired, or you feel, sinus or stuffier. That you can take if you work like you do, right? Like we all, have busy lives, and we have to work and not be on our, in the back or, incapacitated for a certain amount of time because we need to lose weight, or we want to lose weight, or we want to heal some kind of disease. So, so the 7-day is just it's just a do-it-yourself. Here's the bones of it. This is what it looks like. And so if it looks like something that you might be interested in taking a little bit further, try the 7-day, see if it works well for you. How do you feel? And, once you've done it, obviously I encourage them to join the challenge, join the health revolution, because it will be, changing for you for 21 days. And I walk you through the whole 21 days and then a path. And once you get to the end of that, then you decide what you want to do. Do you want to keep going? Because if it is something that you need to heal from, then you need support when you're going through one of those cycles and you're like, okay, so I'm at a plateau as far as my weight loss goes. Where do I go from here? Because I want to continually, I don't really know what's going on. And you have to reassess, like, okay, what am I eating? What's in my environment? What's going on? Because stress is a huge um, weight loss factor, and
Right.
more people they don't think about how stress really has an effect and put kibosh on weight loss in more ways than they even know.
Right.
So yeah, so just encourage them after the 7-day to just get involved in the 21 day and see it through and see how they're feeling, and hopefully we change some people's lives and they can have some energy for themselves, that me time, and for their families. And it's not a diet where you have to buy weird food. Like you have to go to a special store, you know what I mean, and find stuff that you've heard of before, kind of down the road after you've reached your goals. You can always expand,
Right.
out what you're doing, but your body is going to tell you, like, what it's okay with and what it's not okay with. And you really, at that, once you get all over the cravings and the emotional stuff, then you can get into a little bit more of intuitive eating, because you don't have those bugs that are telling you what they want to eat instead of what you should eat. So.
Right. That's awesome. That's a lot of good information. What I want to know is, who has been the most influential people in your life? Or if you just have one, that's fine.
Yes. Absolutely. I would say my best friend and my business partner has been the most influential person in my life. Absolutely. She actually was the one who helped me to get the position with the company, Ayurveda company in Houston, in Texas, because she had a background in nursing and health, and she decided she was going to be a doctor. She didn't be a doctor because she didn't want to push pharmaceuticals. She believed in going a natural route first, and so that was the reason that we became best friends, was because we had that belief that there were so many natural things in this earth that, why wouldn't you do that first? Right. And if then you had some issues or, emergency, there's always a space for Western medicine, for allopathic medicine. I don't poo-poo it. I poo-poo certain practices of it, but there's a place for everything. And I'm just one of those people that would go the natural route. And we'd just be researching when we were working that job till 1:00 in the morning, just learning all different things and how certain things affected the body. And even when we left that position, she continues to do that to this very day. And so she keeps me sharp. She keeps me on my toes, and is always keeping me creative and pushing me forward. So that's definitely my. Yep, absolutely.
So my last question for you would be, what has been your go-to meal since COVID-19?
My go-to meal. Ooh, I got to think about that. I'm going to say, because everything that I create is a variation of some other, kind of comfort foods that I grew up with and that kind of thing. So, but I'm going to say, I love just a good old fashioned pot roast, minus the carrots and the potatoes and all that stuff. So, I do love my mushrooms, and that's probably one of the few carbs. I know the jury is out on different sides as far as mushrooms go. I believe they have functional performance benefits, so I use them in a lot of my recipes. And but just a good crock pot roast has probably been my favorite go-to COVID meal, because it takes no time, to throw it in and just let it cook forever, and it falls apart when you get it. And I use it for, my omelets the next day, And so it goes for a number of meals.
That's a good mix right there. I never thought of pot roast or an omelet.
It's rich, but it's very tasty. It's very tasty, but it's rich. Yeah, and I'm a cheesehead. So I do a little, gotta have my cheese.
That's awesome. Well, Shannon, I want to thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for sharing your story. And for those who are watching, her website is right here. Go to toughmothersworld.now.site to check out her website. Sign up for the free plan for the 7 days, and also her Facebook groups if you're interested for the Carnivores mothers and the tough mothers, because as moms, we can be tough, not tough to block out all our emotions. Tough is saying that we have to take care of ourselves to be tough because we got to take care of these kids, we got to work, and we got to, keep it pushing, y'all. So take care of yourself. Self-care is very important. So make sure you check out that Facebook group, Tough Mothers, and the Carnivores Mothers as well. And y'all always hear me talk about self-care. Sometimes I got to remind myself, okay, to take care of myself as well, because we're always going. And so for those of you who are watching the show, for those of you who will be watching later, make sure you share and don't miss any more episodes after this. Click the notification bell. And as usual, I will see you guys next week, same time. Have your face in the place. Virtual, of course, next Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific time. So I want to thank you guys for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye. Let me go to my brand.